Alrighty, and a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going. Alrighty, Daniel, welcome.
Thank you.
And by the way, real quickly, for those of you listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, please feel free to subscribe. We always appreciate that. Daniel is here today. This man has the most amazing story, and millions of you know his story, and then there are even millions of you that don't know his story, and it is so fascinating. And by the way, Daniel, this morning I thought of you. I had this before your story, so I just want you to know that, okay? But brought my Krispy Kreme coffee mug, which is appropriate.
Here too.
We've got some Krispy Kreme donuts sitting here on the table for those of you that can't see it. You can, of course, can watch this on YouTube as well. And Daniel's story is incredible. I'm going to take this piece by piece because it is so fascinating, so interesting. But here's the two things I learned from your story, and tell me if this sums it up, okay? First thing, don't ever let the police search your car.
Absolutely.
Number two, if you ever get in trouble with the law, make sure you get a good lawyer. Mm-hmm. Somebody that's not afraid to go up against the law. Mm-hmm. Your story's incredible. I'm going to tell it real briefly, and then we're going to take it step by step. Sure. Years ago, Daniel was literally pulled over on an Orange County road here in Florida. Pulled over at night, didn't think much of it. All right. Hey, we'd like to search your car. He gave him permission to do so. And then all of a sudden, Daniel is allegedly arrested for possession of methamphetamine.
Crystal methamphetamines, yes.
And next thing you know, Daniel finds himself in an Orange County jail. He is sitting there. He's being fingerprinted. And now he has got to prove his innocence. And the interesting thing about his story is, of course, he doesn't use crystal meth, never has, never will. And he has had to fight his way out of this and prove to the police, to the county, to his record that this man is innocent. And that sounds so simple. You just, hey, I didn't do it. That stuff you found isn't crystal meth, but it is much more complicated than that. How's that for a summary?
That's pretty good, Randy.
Wow. Your story is, I swear to goodness, when I heard about this years ago, how long has it been now? What's the date?
December 2015 is when
2015. Okay, so we're looking almost 5 years ago this happened, and I remember this and just going, "Oh, this guy is a goofball." Seriously, you know. I mean, he got arrested, like many people do, and then you start digging deeper and you go, "No, this guy is normal. The police have some issues here. This is not fair. This is wrong. This is injustice." And so let's take it back. What date was it? What were you doing? Where were you going? It was in the evening, right?
No, it was actually about 1 in the afternoon.
Well, oh, I thought it was at night.
No.
Okay, go ahead. Got that wrong.
Well, December 11th,
okay,
2015, I picked up my friend to go to chemotherapy, who since has passed away from cancer. And when he goes to get his chemo, I go to the gym and work out. Then he calls me when he's ready, and then I go pick him up. It's 10 minutes away. So drop him off. I'm going to the gym, and it's next to where the old Amway Center used to be. It's not a real great part of town. So,
and for people that live around the rest of the country, that's near downtown Orlando.
Yeah. So I'm going, and all of a sudden I see lights behind me.
Okay.
Like, wow, what's this all about? So I pull over, and Randy, the police walk up and they just stare at me. And I'm like, did I do something wrong? And then he went, well, you were going a little fast. And I went, really? And they went, yeah. They went, you were going 41 and a 30. I said, wow, I didn't realize I was. And then, Randy, they just stared at me again. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, are you going to give me a ticket? And they went,
Why? No, real quickly. Why do you think they were staring? Like, why, I know you
I
look
don't
back
have
on this.
any idea.
It's 1 PM, so it's not the middle of the night or something.
no. Just drop off a friend for chemo.
And you're a very
going to the
normal
gym.
looking guy, so I mean, it's not like, okay, this guy's, whatever. He's got long hair. He's all tatted up. You're a very normal human being. So that's weird. Okay.
Yeah, I still don't understand it. And
Okay.
they went, well, would you mind if we searched your car? And I said, tell you what, if you don't give me a ticket, you can search the car. And they said, okay, they're not really supposed to do that. So they're searching the car, and after about 10 minutes, I'm like, wow. So this corporal comes back and goes, okay, you want to tell us about it? And I said, no, there's nothing to tell. What are you talking about? And they went, we found it. And I went, no, because there's nothing to find. And they went, yeah, crystal methamphetamines. I said, I don't even know what that is.
I've heard about it on the news, but I don't really know what it is.
I've never even smoked a cigarette.
Right.
So, and they said, yeah. And they went, now we're willing to work with you if you're willing to work with us. And I said, well, I can't work with you even if I wanted to because I don't know anything. I said, okay, well, turn around, put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest. I said, I'm telling you, you're making a big mistake. And they went, no, we don't think so. So
let's go. Okay, so now you're in handcuffs. You're standing in front of your car.
Everyone's
driving
at
by.
me.
Oh, look at this weirdo. What's going on? What did he do wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. And then so when they went in the car, what was in the what other things were in the car? And then we'll get to the alleged methamphetamine.
believe it or not, Bibles and gospel tracts. That was it.
So you had a bunch of Bibles.
I give them out to homeless people. Yeah.
Okay, so you distribute this to people along the streets of Orange County and other places throughout Florida.
Yeah. When they come up and say, can you spare any money? I'll give them a couple bucks and a Bible.
So how many Bibles did you have in there?
Probably only about 5 or 6 at the time. Yeah.
Okay, so that was in there. Was that in the trunk or in the car?
No, it was on the back seat.
Okay.
In plain view.
And anything else in the trunk? Did you have anything? I don't know.
Oh, you know what? I did have my pistol with me, which I have a permit for.
Okay, and you probably warned them about it. Hey, I just want to let you know I have a pistol, or
Yeah.
Okay,
I did.
So then that was no big issue. You had a permit. That's very, very, very normal. So then, where was the methamphetamine? Where was that located?
They brought me over to the car and they pointed down to the floorboard of the driver's side and they went, see? And I went, that is icing from a Krispy Kreme glazed donut. And they went, no, that's crystal methamphetamines. I went, no, it's not. And they went, well, it is. And I said, okay, well, I'm not going to argue with you. So they took me to jail.
So, okay, so what they found were flakes from
Icing, yes,
icing.
from the donut.
And let's go back a little bit. You visit Krispy Kreme.
Maybe I get one every couple weeks.
You treat yourself.
Yep.
You go in through the drive-thru. Hey, I have a couple donuts or whatever.
One.
I got you a box here.
Thank you.
You can open it up. Open it. No, I just want to see. Could you show me? I mean, are we talking that kind of icing or the chocolate icing? People that are
No,
watching.
it wasn't chocolate. It was regular.
All right. So you can take that home with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bring it to the family. But so it's that icing. Can you hold one of those up just so people? So it's the clear icing that is on the glazed donut.
Yeah, but when it gets hard, it gets kind of whitish.
Okay, so it gets flaky, looking like meth.
Yes.
Or what they think looks like meth.
I don't know what it looks like myself, but that's what people tell me, yeah.
So you're such a slob, you had it all over the floor.
No, I just had a couple little pieces. I hadn't vacuumed the car out. It was 2 days prior.
So that was on the floor, and that's what they scooped up.
Yes.
And did they actually physically show it to you at the car? Like, hey, here's what we found, dude.
I said, that's,
Icing from a Krispy Kreme donut.
Yeah.
Were you just like at that moment going, you got it. I mean, this is going to, okay, they're going to find out immediately what this is, and that's going to end this nonsense.
Well, actually, I thought I was being pranked because my brother is with OPD. And
So he's a cop?
Yeah.
So you thought maybe like he's going to step out, gotcha.
Yeah, but when they put the handcuffs on me, then I started thinking, I don't think this is a prank anymore.
And did you have any thoughts at that moment, like maybe somebody planted something on you? Did you have like any flashes of like maybe somebody's
When they showed me the flakes, I knew what it was.
And they said we scooped this from the floor.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. So now they put you in the squad car.
Yep. Drive me to 33rd Street,
which is
county jail.
County jail. Mm-hmm. Lovely place, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I have a spine injury. So when you first go in, they ask you, do you have anything that you could go into withdrawal from if you don't take it soon enough? I said, yes. So they got that information. I said, it's going to be maybe an hour or so because I was just about to take it anyway. So they said, okay, we'll take care of you. Then you go back and you do the strip search, which really wasn't as fun as I thought it would be.
So, yeah, I know. I mean, I get it. You take off all your clothes. Do they like really search you closely? Like,
you have to bend over and,
bend over and expose everything.
Yep.
Is humiliating as it could be, whether you're a man, woman, whatever, child.
For a woman, it's got to be horrible.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you do that and going, okay, and you're in the jail. And then what are they saying to you at this point?
Nothing. They took some information from me and I sat down next to a couple of guys and one of the guys heard me talking to my wife and he started laughing. He said, dude, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at what happened.
Wait, go back. You had to call your wife.
Yeah.
And say, honey,
you got to bond me out. I got arrested. She knew I didn't do anything immediately, but yeah, so she was just hysterical. My son-in-law actually did everything.
So let's be clear to everyone that is watching and listening so we understand this. You have no history of drugs, really drinking either, do you?
No.
I mean, have you ever had alcohol?
As a kid, I'm not against it. I just don't like it.
So this is interesting. So you've never drank, smoked?
Yeah, I've never smoked a cigarette.
Weren't into any type of recreational drugs?
Nothing.
Nothing. So there would be no reason for you to even be near that kind of stuff.
I mentioned that to the deputy, to the officer, I said, do I look like back then I was 35 pounds heavier, muscle mass. I've lost 35 pounds since then. But I said, do I look like I take crystal meth? And she said, well, you're probably just selling it. True story.
You're more the dealer type.
Yeah. She said, you're probably just selling
You're very
it.
inquisitive. You're very smart. So then when you called your wife, how do you word that? Hey, honey, I'm here at the jail. Can you come down and bond? I mean, did she go, what?
She couldn't believe it. She knew, she believed me, but she was almost hysterical. My son-in-law called me, or I called him, I don't remember, and he said, I'll handle it. She doesn't have to do anything. I'll take care of everything, which I was grateful for.
He's the one that's the cop?
No, my son-in-law.
Your son-in-law. Okay, so who's the cop?
My brother, Rick.
Your brother. You didn't think of calling him?
I did call him.
Okay. You got a hold of him too then?
See, all the people that I was a park ranger at Lake Eola for 15 years.
Right.
I worked with the police every day. And everybody that I knew back then, is gone pretty much. I didn't know anybody on the force currently. And my brother was very angry about what happened.
Right. No, I'm just trying to go through my head if I got arrested, who I would call and the reaction, especially if it was something, well, what'd you get arrested for? And you tell her, they say I had possession of meth or something. Yeah. She had to have gone, what are you talking about?
No, she believed me right away. The people around me were all laughing. One guy went, hey, dude, I'm not laughing at you, but this is so weird. You're going to get some bucks over this.
Okay, so then what happens? You go through the booking process at Orange County Jail.
Yeah, I went through that. Then I'm sitting for like 5 hours. So I went back to the people that told me, if we're going to take care of you. I said, look, I've been going through withdrawals. Just to let you know, if you can give me my meds, I'll be good. And they said, you need to go over there and sit down and shut up, or we're going to put you in the back where you don't want to be.
Wait, who's going through withdrawals?
Me.
You are.
By now it's 5 o'clock.
For what? Withdrawal for
my
your back problem. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Your spine problem.
Yeah. So they told me, sit down and shut up, or we're going to put you where you don't want to be.
Okay. So then how? Then they process you. Do they then let you go and then you bond out? And
no, you go upstairs with everybody else.
Tell me about that process. So what does that mean by going upstairs? Are you going to see a judge?
No, you're going to stay, to live.
This is your new home.
Yeah. So, I'll go up and I stand in line to use the phone, and this guy comes up and goes, I'm next. And I go, no, you're not. And he went, but I want to be next. And I went, well, get set for a disappointment because you're not. He looked at me, I looked at him. He said, okay, but I'm after you. And I'm like, I don't care. You know, at this point, I'm mad. I'm ready to kill. I would choke him out if I had to. But, you know, so I used the phone and find out everything's been taken care of. They're just waiting to come get me as soon as they release me. So I'm only upstairs for maybe an hour and a half. I was over 11 hours total.
11 hours just at the dealing with the authorities.
Right.
And so then they release you, and then you what? Have a court date set at that point, or what is the next step after that you need to do? Obviously, get a lawyer, right?
Well, they sent the material to the FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, to make sure of what it was. And
they don't do that out in the field, huh?
They did it, but the woman that was doing it had never been trained.
So what happened when they did it out in the field?
It came up positive because she didn't know what she was doing.
So this is important. This is really, really important. She does it out in the field, and it's like what we've seen on episodes of Cops or every show that we've seen where they put it in like a little baggie, they tap it, and it either changes color or it doesn't.
Right.
And it changed the color that would indicate this is methamphetamine.
Yes, because she'd never been trained on how to do the test.
So did they even show you that out in the...
They showed it to me.
So when you saw it, you went...
I said, you're wrong.
This is insane.
Yeah, I said, that's crazy. You know.
What are you people talking about?
Yeah, I said, that's wrong. You made a mistake.
Did you have any thoughts at that moment, like you were being set up, or, I mean...
No, not really. But you know what? I would have gone to prison. Methamphetamines and a pistol with me. And I said, but I have I got a permit for that. She said, when you're carrying narcotics, it doesn't matter.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
So they did the test out in the field, and then they also sent it to a lab. And this is a normal confirmation process they would go through to sort of have a double check of whatever substance is discovered by somebody that's been caught with something.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I had to wait for almost 2 months for the FDLE to, you know, notify Orange County that it was sugar.
So how do you find that news out? So here it is months later. You know in your heart you did nothing wrong, but during that time, be honest, were you thinking, what if it comes back?
What if it comes back? They planted something, or they made a mistake. I'm going to prison.
You start sounding like OJ. The cops are in on this. What I mean, you know what I mean? You think, oh my God.
You know, it creeps into your mind. You know, maybe somebody's going to plant something, so
right?
They won't be, you know, wrong, or maybe they're going to make a mistake there. Anything could happen. My wife asks me almost every day, "Are you going to prison?" I said, "No, honey, I'm not going to prison."
Your poor wife listening to. I wonder if she had doubts during this about you.
No, she never asked me once.
No,
she knows me.
Hey,
she lives with me,
honey. I believe you 100%. But if there's anything you want to tell me before these 2 months are over with, you know, I'm here for you. Didn't have that moment?
Nah.
Okay. So then you get, and how do you find? Did you get an attorney at this point between now and then?
I had to wait
for the results.
Yes.
Okay. And how do they notify you? Do they call you? Do you get it in the mail?
They didn't notify me.
Okay. So the 2 month period, and then
I had to call.
Okay. So you call up and
Orange County Courthouse.
And this is case 014432. I'm trying to find out what the drug test came back with.
She said that case has been dismissed. It came back as sugar. The police never contacted me, ever.
They don't say a word.
No.
They
nothing.
don't say, hey, oh my goodness, we're so sorry. We made a mistake. We obviously were just overzealous in trying to make sure that you weren't driving around with meth, and we apologize. There was nothing along.
No. In fact, Randy, and I'm not mad at the police.
Yeah. No, I know you're not. Which is amazing.
The lady that did the test, after everything was proven, that she told my lawyer, I'll never believe that wasn't crystal methamphetamines. You know those people that
no matter what
they'll never admit they made a mistake, ever. And she ended up quitting because they gave her a written reprimand. She said, I'm not signing that. I quit.
That's so bizarre. It's so bizarre that people can't. And I don't know. Do you think it's because we live in a litigious world? If they admit they were wrong, then they're on the record.
I think she was just really stubborn.
People can't change their viewpoint.
She wasn't going to admit she made a mistake no matter what. She doesn't think she made a mistake. After everything was said and done about me, and they know me, and that she still was adamant that was drugs.
So at this point, you're feeling good. Hey, it was just sugar. It was just a Krispy Kreme donut frosting. So now you're kind of feeling, okay, good. I told you so. But it's not over yet, is it?
No, it's still on my record.
So on your record, if people were to search you, you were going to go apply for a job, if you were going to do anything where it requires somebody to look you up, you would have a possession charge, which is a federal offense.
Absolutely.
So people don't realize this, and this just doesn't go away. You don't just go, well, wait a month and they'll remove it for you.
No.
And of course, they are very apologetic that it got there in the first place, and there's a system set up to remove that. And boop, let's clean this up.
And it's very expensive. Several $1,000s to have it removed.
So let's explain that. So what do you have to do to clear your name, even though you did nothing wrong?
You got to go back to court, not to a trial situation, but through the courts, pay a bunch of money and have that removed.
So you have to hire a lawyer.
You could do it yourself, but most people hire a lawyer,
Be tough to navigate the system and know what to do, what form to fill out.
I've always navigated the system, but most people just would be lost.
Now, how do you go find an attorney for something like this? This is, I'm not trying to plug any attorney out there.
It was tough. This is a very, very specialized
situation.
Yeah. So I kept calling people, and everybody said, we don't do that.
And you have to call and explain your story to each person. Hey, this is me, Daniel. I just want to let you know I was arrested. It was a Krispy Kreme donut, but it came back sugar. Are they just on the other end? Go, okay, yeah, well, I'll get back with you on that.
Well, a lot of people say you need to just give up. You're not going to. Yes, they did. A lot of attorneys said just give up. You're not going to get anything from this. Well, I kept calling and punching, and finally, Bill Raffier is a great guy. I contacted him, and he said, sure. He said, I'm not against the police, but when they do something wrong, they need to be held accountable for it, just like anybody. And what a nice guy and an excellent attorney. So I ended up getting a $37,500 settlement on that.
So then in order to help pay for this and help move this along, you have to literally sue the city or the county.
The city.
There'd be no other way to do it just to get it cleared?
Nope.
Now, why is that? Why do you have to sue someone? And I'm not saying it was wrong. I would.
They're not going to just take it off.
What?
Said, okay, we made a mistake and take it off. They just don't do that.
So is there no system set up for people that are found innocent of something before there's even a trial or a sentencing to clear someone's name once they've been arrested?
Yeah, the system is you go through the courts, you pay several $1,000s, and they'll finally, I don't know if I think they just cover it over. They don't actually remove it ever. They just I think they just cover it up.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's there, but nobody can see it. I forgot the legal term.
It wouldn't even show up as like a question mark for anyone then?
No. But it's still there on your record if anybody wanted to dig.
So from the time that you hired an attorney to the time that your name was officially cleared, or what we're calling being cleared, how long did that take?
Almost 2 years, and that was very quick. It's usually not that fast. Bill was a real bulldog and just went after him and just kept insisting, and then finally they made a settlement. He said, we could probably get a little more, but it would take years. And, if I were you, and I'm not telling you what to do, but if I were you, I would accept it.
Right.
So I did.
Yeah. Well, you could end up fighting the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it gets exhausting, I'm sure. And then, that sounds like, $37,000 or something. But
he gets a percentage.
He gets 30-40%. So
you know what? Bill only took 25%.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, Bill.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a really good. He passes out. He's a Gideon. They give Bibles out. The free. That's the kind of a guy he is.
So you guys connected.
Yeah, immediately I like Bill. He walked in, and my brother from OPD was there, and he went, "Okay, which one's the meth dealer?"
Is that right?
Instant connection. I mean, he was a good guy. I enjoyed working with him.
So did you have to actually appear in court in front of judges or anything like that?
Nope.
He took care of all that.
You know, I don't remember. I don't think he actually had to appear because the case was dropped.
Okay. So they dropped the case, but there's still all this paperwork.
Oh, he had to sue the city. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, right.
But
So-
no, that's the only court that he went
You didn't
through.
have to stand in front of a judge and explain
No.
your ridiculous story.
No.
Dude, that is so amazing that it is that difficult to clear your name on something where you're clearly innocent of.
And Randy, and I'm not mad at this. I worked 25 years and retired from the city of Orlando after 25 years.
That's bizarre. That's bizarre. Do you think it's like this in every city? Do you think it's like this in every...
I hope not. I hope not. But it probably is.
I see. I you know, maybe I'm. Yeah, I guess I'm. I don't know. I think of these people, and you hear these stories all the time. Somebody, in fact, heard a couple of these stories recently of somebody that served, 50 years in jail, and then they're finally exonerated and released, and then they're like you. They're just the kindest people, where they just go, "I'm just glad to be out," and. To me, I don't know. I just feel like I would have so many anger issues. I would be, and it's not the point that, of course you knew you were innocent. You knew you didn't do anything wrong, but it's still the point of it that you can't just go, oh my gosh, we're so sorry we made a mistake. And we make mistakes sometimes. We apologize and we do the best we can. They're out in the streets.
Nobody ever did that.
That's weird to me.
If it would have been earlier, I would have known almost everybody on the force. They would have went, get out of here, man.
Right.
Because they know me.
Right.
They would have known it was a false positive. But, I didn't know any of these people.
So let's talk about that then. Let's talk about that. They weren't trained for examining this type of, call it evidence.
That's what I was told by my attorney.
Okay. So they don't know what to do with these tests.
This particular officer.
Yeah. But that's probably not the only officer that's ever been improperly trained, right?
Nope.
Can't
that
be just
doesn't
one.
even make sense, does it?
Right.
Yeah.
I would imagine everyone gets the same kind of training.
Uh-huh.
So then it makes you sit there and wonder, and I know we're sort of pontificating when I talk about this. Are there people sitting in jail?
I'm sure.
That got a test, and that's what scares me.
Horrible story. The guy called me personally. Bill gave him my number. He got stopped on the way home from work. Drywall work. In his van was dust from drywall. And it wasn't OPD. This was, I think, a county. They stopped and they charged him with cocaine possession. And Bill told me, the guy ended up going to Bill, and he said, he's going to get the full $200,000, no problem. He was in jail, Randy, 3 months. Couldn't get bail, didn't have the money.
So they did a test on that powder, and that showed up that he's carrying cocaine or
Apparently.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then later they do another test, and they go, that's drywall.
Yeah. 3 months.
See, and I would think I would think they would want to clear this stuff just because of the loss of revenue of lawsuits, and we always hear these stories that the city's being sued and stuff, and I'm sure there are many frivolous suits, but this a lot of this could be prevented.
Yep.
This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wonder, across the country, we're just one little population here. What has happened in other counties and cities where people have been arrested?
There's all kinds of horror stories. But like I said, if this would have been earlier, like I used to walk around Lake Eola.
And by the way, Lake Eola is the downtown center area for Orlando. It's a very pretty area, and there's a lake, and it's sort of the centerpiece of Orlando, Florida.
By the way, it was, when I was a park ranger there, it was voted, along with Boston Commons in Boston, as the 2 best urban parks in the U.S. But anyway, I used to walk around with Val Demings, Congresswoman Val Demings,
right,
who was like a police captain and married to Jerry Demings and later became the police chief. We used to walk around the park together. Come on.
Right. And so what you're saying is if you still would have known these people, it would have been one phone call and they would have cleared it up and said, oh my gosh, you guys have made a mistake. But it still wouldn't have cleared your record up though, right? I don't think one. It sounds like to me like.
Oh, I would. That would still be on the record that I was arrested for that.
Do you know what I mean? It seems like there's a real flaw in that, in the way that there's not a way to sort of kick this out of the system and say no. There's got to be a way for a judge to sign off on it. Go, yeah, this has absolutely been a huge mistake. Somebody it needs a couple signatures, and then somebody goes into a computer system and deletes that from the system.
It's never kicked out of the system. It's covered up, but it's never kicked out. I'm trying to remember the term.
So in other words, if the FBI, if you were arrested by the FBI, they could still see that somewhere about your Krispy Kreme episode.
Yep.
Jesus. What is that about?
It's just the way it is.
It seems like the ACLU would have come to your side. You never heard from them at all?
No. I didn't contact them either.
Yeah, they needed to take a look at this.
Yeah.
And I know you're not mad, and I'm
not mad. It just happened.
Yeah, I'm
happening.
just thinking of myself. I would just be like, "You got to be kidding me!" Angry.
Well, the one thing I knew was that I didn't do anything. So, but still, in the back of your mind, like I said, hey, is somebody going to plant something? Is there going to be another mistake?
Well, and I would even wonder, like, was somebody in my car that I've never thought about? You know what I mean? Like,
no, they showed me what it was that they said was it was the little flakes from the donut. They showed it to me. They said, "This is it." I said, "That's flakes from our Krispy Kreme. It's been in the car 2 days. It got hard."
This was such a big story around really the world, was it? Talk about the media just in general.
I could not believe it. To me, it's not that interesting. It's just, a lady from the Sentinel, our local paper, called, said, "Dan, I saw from public records what happened to you. I'm so sorry. Would you like to do an interview?" And I said, "Well, sure, I'll do it for you." Then she said, "Okay." After we got done, she said, "It's great. We're going to put it on the wires tomorrow." Well, I didn't really know what that meant, but early in the mornings, the phone started ringing. "Hi, this is ABC News. Hi, this is CNN News." Every time I put the phone down, it would start ringing again. I couldn't get off the phone until about 2 in the afternoon. Calls from Russia, England, I mean, everywhere. My son's friend from Russia went, "Sean, what's up with your dad?" And he went, "What do you mean?" He went,
"What's up with your dad?"
"They're talking about him more than Putin today."
Right. Yeah, screw the Putin story. We gotta focus on the donut guy.
Yeah, it was on it was in the London Monarch. I think it's their main paper, the London Monarch. It was in there the next day. They picked it up from the wires. To me, it's just, oh yeah, it's interesting, and then you go on. But I couldn't believe I got invited to go on Steve Harvey show.
Did you do it?
You know what? I think they shut. I think they didn't renew for the next year.
Okay. So you were invited and then the show got canceled.
Yeah, I went on to a local Christian Christian TV station here.
Right.
With Barbara Beck, and that was fun. But
yeah, well, plus, you're going around the world on a story where, if it was handing out Bibles and what a wonderful person you are, you'd be real proud to talk about it. But here you're having to talk about something you didn't do and defend yourself. So that had to be weird.
Well, most people will always think, "I'm sure he didn't do it." But, I mean, I don't really know for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe he did, but I don't think so. But you never know. That attitude. People that don't know me. People that know me know I...
No, I think in how we all judge people, but I think a couple things that, you don't have a history of drinking. You don't have a history of using recreational drugs. You've got Bibles in the car. You're a good person. You've worked for the county. The city of Orlando. I think all those things, when you look around, you go, "Man, this isn't a bad guy."
Hope so.
Well, I think so. Yeah. Any impressions of the media over that long period of time? Good, bad?
The media was great.
Yeah.
There was the number one DJ in New York City named Charlemagne. He was even doing a story on it.
Yeah. Did you see your story like years later in places, like you'd be flipping through a magazine, or is that kind of strange?
No, it's strange to me in the fact that it's not as fascinating as everybody else thinks it is. To me, it just happened, but everybody else goes, "Man, that is so fascinating." And I'm like, okay. Well,
I think it is fascinating, and I'll tell you why. I think anyone that is accused of something they haven't done is really a frightening thought.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can have a record for the rest of your life, the fact that you could be put in jail for years, if you had enough, you could be put in for life, and you could really do a 180 on your life because of just some injustice out there. I think that's where it makes it a fascinating story. And that's why I get fascinated. It's, on these tests, I wonder so often on things that are done. We hear these stories all the time when we watch, you watch these programs and you see, I never used to thought it was possible that somebody could confess to something that they didn't
I love
do.
those kind of shows. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
and they do.
And you watch Dateline or you watch 2020 or whatever.
All the time.
And you see that and you go, well, no, there's no way I could confess to a murder that I didn't do. And then you watch it and you realize, yeah, you could. You're so tired. They've been talking to you for 16 hours. You just want to go home. You're exhausted. You're tired. You don't even know what they're talking. Fine. Yeah, sure. I stabbed them.
Yeah. I see it on TV all the time.
So I think that's why your story is fascinating. It's sort of this taboo of, oh my gosh, law enforcement. A lot of great law enforcement out there. Most of them are wonderful people.
Yep.
But man, sometimes the system itself
But you got
isn't good.
You got to remember, Randy, even though I know I didn't do anything, always in the back of your mind, what if they make another mistake? What if they plant something? I'm going to prison.
And you do hear stories of them planting stuff to seal the case. So I don't know, would then you sit there and you think, would there be somebody before they ship that off that would take a little shaving of meth?
It's always in the back of your mind.
Would somebody do that just to make their case? I want to think nobody would do that.
Yeah, we all want to do that. Yep.
But they also don't want to be sued later, right? Mm-hmm. Weird. All right. We were talking about you working for the city. Mm-hmm. Interesting job.
Great job.
Tell me some of the bizarre things though you've seen in your life. Doing that job. What did you do around Lake Eola?
Well, the job title calls for security and public relations. Met a bunch of wonderful people from all over the world. Great people. Met a lot of bad people. Met a lot of celebrities. I caught, you know what, Randy, Officer Chuck Hinshold, he told me, you're very observant. I want to show you this person's picture, because the FBI is down here from Boston trying to catch this person. He said, I'm showing you because I got him the same day. They weren't in the park, but I was going down Fern Creek, going to dinner that evening. There they were walking on the sidewalk. So I called the police in on the radio. I let them handle it, and I'm glad I did because the person had hepatitis, and all the police officers had to get treated. I met Schwarzenegger, Danny Glover, tons of politicians.
These people would just come walking around there and enjoying a nice day.
Sometimes, a lot of times they were there for events.
Okay.
Schwarzenegger was there for an event. Met Danny Glover, Al Gore, Joe Lieberman, Mr. and Mrs. Quayle, Dan Quayle, just a ton of people. And just wonderful people from the community. Just Orlando's the best. It really is. We got so many great people here.
Yeah. And then you would see some not so interesting things too?
Yeah.
Just crazy people? Well, I mean, I guess like any open park area, right? People are coming and going, right?
The worst I had to deal with when I first started, we hadn't had park rangers there, and the park had degenerated and the people were scared to go there, and they wanted to clean it up. We had a ton of male prostitutes by the kiddie park working when I got there.
Yeah, there's a playground down in that area.
Yeah.
I know it well because of my son. So,
but I finally got him out of there with the help of the police.
Right.
But the city or Lake Eola Park management fought me all the way on that, and I can't understand why.
So they fought you in the fact of they didn't want to get the male prostitutes out of there?
Why are you bothering these people? Because they're committing prostitution right by the kiddie park. I was just stunned. I said, they're prostitutes. Well, what are you, against gay people? No, I'm not against gay people. I'm against anybody that commits prostitution, especially by the kiddie park.
This wasn't the same lady at the jail with the...
No.
I thought she was still after you, maybe.
Yeah.
Weird.
I know.
I mean, did this go on for a while?
Yeah.
So you would report to them, hey, you guys, this is going on near the children's park, near Lake Eola. You guys need to check this out. And
I would go over and harass them, and they would tell me, why are you bothering those people? We got a complaint from them that you're bothering them. Well, good. Yes, I am bothering them. I'm trying to get them out of there.
What years was this around?
When we first reopened the park, 88, 89.
Okay.
But then we finally just got them out of there.
All right. Do you think they just didn't want? I mean, it's a bizarre thing to not be bothered by it, but do you think they just had so much going on they just thought that was trivial or something? Because it's not trivial. It's serious.
I don't know what was going on.
Huh.
But I know you can't have prostitution go on repeatedly in a certain area without protection, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I was very confused on why are you getting on to me about harassing them and getting them out of there. I never did understand that.
I mean, do you feel like somebody was protecting somebody, or I mean, do you feel like, officers had some sort of interest?
Oh no,
in
it wasn't the officers.
No. You think it was higher up?
No, it was. I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but I got a lot of flack from my supervisor.
Okay.
At Lake Eola.
Okay. So you think there were certain people that worked for the city that wanted to leave that alone for their own reasons?
Yes, absolutely.
I guess we're trying to. Yeah.
But that's what I think. I mean, why would you be mad if I go and harass the prostitutes and get them away from the kiddie park? That doesn't make sense, does it?
Right. Yeah, that's weird. I would think they would go, hey, good job. Let's get...
No, leave them alone. Why are you doing this?
And this went on for a while?
Almost a year.
And then did the problem just go away then? Did they...
No, I had to work hard. When they were standing on the corner, I'd go out and stand with them with my radio, like I was calling the police. And finally they'd walk away, but then they'd come back when I left. So we finally got it, and I would do things like... bring the police over, and sometimes the customers would park on Eola Drive there, and they'd say, what are you doing here? And they'd say, oh, just, relaxing. I said, is this your car? No, it's my wife's car. Okay, well, let me call her and make sure this. Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I still to this day don't know exactly what was going on with the flack I got.
Yeah, that's strange. That seems like it's so many different layers that I don't even understand. I would think you just want to clean up crime.
Wouldn't you? There's prostitutes out by the kiddie park. You'd want to get rid of them.
Right. Or somebody would, like law enforcement would say, look, we've arrested these people 10,000 times, and all what happens is we bring them into the courtroom, the judge just, slams down the gavel and nothing happens. And
it wasn't law enforcement, Randy. The police, when I called, they would come out there and run them off or arrest them.
Right.
But when I'm being told, why are you bothering these people?
You got resistance.
Oh, a lot. Almost threatening my job, resistance.
Yeah. A lot of weird characters that hang around public parks like that. You get just a lot of weird.
Yeah. See, it attracts homeless people. Now, a homeless person to me was just as welcome as anybody else, as long as they weren't breaking the rules. And when the homeless people would sleep there, I would run them off. I said, you can be in the park, but you can't make this your bedroom. And then my boss would tell me, you can't ask them if they are homeless. I said, okay. Then he got mad because I said, I would ask him, why are you sleeping here instead of your house? Oh, I don't have a home. Okay, well, you need to leave. I try to...
You don't have a home, but you're homeless. But you can't say homeless.
You can't ask them, are you homeless? Right. So I would just say, why are you sleeping here instead of your home?
Right.
Yeah. And like I said, they're just as welcome as anybody as long as they're not breaking the rules.
Well, you're a good guy to talk about this. We have a pretty good size homeless problem in Orlando. I don't know if you've ever been to Los Angeles.
Yeah, I have.
And I don't know if
And
you've
I've
ever
noticed-
driven around Skid Row in that area. I'd love to get your viewpoint on this and tie it to where we live. You go to California these days. I mean, it looks like a third world country.
Yes, it does. And I saw Dr. Drew on TV, and he predicted typhus outbreak. And a lady on the 6th floor of City Hall in L.A. got a flea bite and got typhus from it.
Yeah, and Dr. Drew has had some really good viewpoints on this because he's been talking about this for a long time. And this is a serious, serious health threat to Los Angeles and to every place that is dealing with a large homeless population. But you drive the streets of L.A., you can't believe you if you've ever been to a third world country, you'd go, and if you've ever traveled abroad, you just go, geez, I'm so sorry about this life
That's how people describe it.
This is in one of the richest cities in the world. And you drive for miles and you just go, what the heck is going on here? For somebody that helps, like yourself, people that are down at times.
Oh, glad to.
What do you suggest, like a city of Los Angeles side or Orlando? What do we do to solve this problem tomorrow? How do we fix this?
Well, for one thing, a lot of people that are homeless and get jailed, it's because they shouldn't be jailed. They should be given psychiatric help.
Okay.
The other thing is drugs and alcohol. Those two things are the main problems now.
Because they'll say in L.A. it's they don't have affordable housing. That's what they'll say. And I'm sure they'll say that here in the Orlando area as well.
Some of the homeless people don't want housing.
Okay.
They want to be their own boss and not have anybody tell them what to do.
And I want to be clear about this. You're somebody that has talked to these people time and time again.
I love them, yeah. Want to help them.
I just want to be clear about this.
Yeah,
That you're not
thank
just...
you.
Yeah.
No, and I've asked, why would you sleep in a bush instead of going to the shelter? Well, if I want to get up and walk around at 3 or 4 in the morning, I can't. I said, but you've got a roof over your head. No, I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. I get a lot of that. The others are alcohol, drugs, and just mental illness.
Right.
Yeah.
And but here's the question: why can't a city like Los Angeles be able to pass a law that first they've got to solve where they're going to put these people? But let's solve that problem, and then you have to say, and this is only fair to the business owners and the people of the city to go, we've got to scoop these people up. If they don't want to go, we still got to make them go. And then, you have some sort of 2-3 strike rule. And if they run away from the treatment, they continue to do it, then you've got to arrest them and move them out of the city. But why are we afraid to say, look, you can't set your tent up, your barbecue grill, and your whole life out on a street? Why are we so afraid to say that? I don't get it.
Well, Randy, out at the airport, I talked to a lot of people from L.A., lots, San Francisco, and now this is what they're telling me, that their politicians are so concerned with being woke that the regular citizen that pays taxes and tries to work and have a home and everything, they get run over. So the politicians can say, well, look, we have this. I'm not, trying to do anything against these people. So that's what they're telling me.
Yeah, I mean, so they're afraid that the visual of going around and tearing down these tents and taking these people to treatment, taking them to a facility, the optics of it is so scary to them, they just don't want to deal with it.
To the politicians, not to the residents.
To the politicians.
The residents are suffering. And I heard some horror stories, especially from people in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I talked to a lot of people who are visiting here, out at the airport. And
right.
It's just, I feel bad for them. I feel bad for the homeless people because they're like being enabled to live like this instead of getting some help.
Right. Well, there's some bizarre stories coming out of L.A. where they're spending like $600,000 per apartment to set these people up, each individual, with an apartment which has, granite countertops, an ice maker, and Could we not build a facility where people, like the old days, the old Quonset huts, where they have an air conditioner, they have a room, they have a bathroom, and why can't we do that in a more affordable way? Set it up, get it going quickly, and then here's the rules. We've got to keep the streets clean. We've got to be able to have these business owners go to work and not have tents set up around them, and drugs and needles and every disease starting to develop in that area. Don't we owe it to the taxpayers to keep the city going and clean and free of homeless people? But in fairness to the homeless people, we do have to give them treatment and a shot at life. So why is that? I don't.
You know what LA used to do?
I don't get it. And the same thing with Orlando.
You know what LA used to do in the early 90s? I love this. They would bus people. For one thing, they did it because they didn't want people to think they had a whole lot of homeless people there. But they would bus people out to an area outside the city.
Drop them off in Yuma or something?
No. Actually, they had nice, like, teepee-like homes.
Okay.
I mean, they were concrete, and they had air conditioning and water and everything like that. And as long as they didn't use drugs or alcohol, they could live there for free as long as they wanted. There was a bus line so they could get back into the city and work.
Right, have a job, and then you could commute back and forth. All that.
But that's not woke, is what the people of LA are telling me anymore. What their politicians are, we can't do that.
I mean, I don't see why that wouldn't be a great program. And as long as you're not using drugs, as long as you can't own a gun, so nobody gets hurt, it would have to be policed by either the citizens of that community, but like sort of a city within a city.
It was, and it was outside of LA. And as long as you didn't use drugs or alcohol,
right,
you could stay there forever.
Right. And there would be treatment with doctors and professionals that you could see. Why is that so impossible to set up? I feel like I could get this organized in a month's time.
Well, you probably could if you didn't have to deal with the local politicians there.
I'll just solve it. I'm not running for anything. I see a city like Los Angeles, and even when I drive around my city, I go, What do we do? Why can't we help these people out?
It's sad, isn't it? It really is.
Well, and I'm sad for the guy that owns the pizza shop, and he can't open his front door because the door smacks into the tent of the guy who's decided to.
Everybody. I'm sad for everybody. Yeah, everybody's suffering. Even the homeless people are suffering because of it.
I don't get it. Mm-mm. Yeah, and it's been interesting, mentioning Dr. Drew, because he has been very outspoken about it, and he is predicting some very serious health concerns.
The plague.
Yeah.
He said he's waiting for the plague outbreak. He said it's coming. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, it's coming, he said, out in L.A.
Well, and it all drains into the ocean is where all this is going. All the drugs, the feces, it's just human waste.
When was the last time you heard somebody had typhus? World War II, right?
Yeah. Speaking of things going around, coronavirus. You're a guy that shakes a lot of hands. Are you worried? Are you concerned?
I'm concerned about any virus, but I saw on television the other day that last month the coronavirus killed 6 people in the U.S. The regular virus killed 9,000. Now, there is a coronavirus, absolutely, but it's mainly causing death to people who are elderly and already have some kind of a major health problem as it is. But, one of the doctors, Dr. Oz, I saw Dr. Oz on TV, said you could get the coronavirus and not even know it. You might feel a little bit tired, or you might have a runny nose, and that's it. You've had the coronavirus.
Do you think they're overstating it? Do you feel like it's...
Yeah, I do.
This is a media issue, and the media's... do you think they're doing a bad job or in informing people, or what's your thoughts?
I think they're scaring people. I think there is a coronavirus. There's a lot of viruses here. I think they're going overboard and just overblowing this here. They canceled the New York half marathon, because of this, and a lot of sporting events have been, and they're saying we're going to play the basketball games with no fans.
Right.
In the NBA.
Yeah.
That LeBron came out and said, I don't want to play in front of no fans.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We're taking this and just running with it.
Well, how do you think the media should do it differently? Let's say you're the president of NBC. Would you not run stories on it? What would you do differently if you were in charge.
No, you can run a story on it, but just let people know. Last month, 6 people died from the coronavirus here, 9,000 from the regular virus.
From the flu is what you're talking about.
Yeah, the flu
right?
virus, yeah.
Right.
I mean, yes, it is a sickness, but, as long as you're in pretty good health, this isn't something you have to worry about is going to kill you.
Do you think that we're sort of in that incubation period where it's got the potential to affect a lot of people, and we really haven't seen the results of what damage this might do to a population? Do you think maybe that the folks at the CDC and other worldwide organizations know a lot more, and they are concerned of the potential of what this could do?
Sure, they're very concerned, and I think they got out ahead of it very well. But I think some of the media is actually scaring people with more than this really is. Like I said, if you're a healthy person, the chances. I heard a guy on radio today. If you're a healthy person, don't have any kind of a real major sickness, you don't have to worry that the coronavirus is going to kill you, probably.
Yeah.
You might get sick for a few days, but, for a healthy person, the coronavirus is like any other virus. I had swine flu in 2009.
What does the swine flu do to you?
It's flu-like symptoms. I just got very sick for a few days, and then I went to the doctor and they said, you got swine flu.
Give you some antibiotics or something?
Yeah. And, it passed. I never thought I'm going to die, or the doctor never said, hey, you could die. You got the swine flu, you need to take care of it and take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird what this whole coronavirus feel is doing to the world, because I think it's got everyone so on edge. I think what has happened with all of us, see if this makes sense, we don't know what to believe anymore. You know what I mean? I think we're caught in some kind of weird thing. So we hear in China that, quite a few people have died. Mm-hmm. And like what you said, then you compare the numbers to the normal flu virus.
Here where we have much better medical facilities.
Yeah. So you hear those numbers. And then you hear other people from the CDC and other organizations telling you don't understand, this is going to start affecting a lot of people. And then you take in consideration what the president is saying. Then you take in consideration what the media is saying. I think we all just sit there at times. We just don't. I feel like, I don't know, 50 years ago, we would have all been on the same page.
Yeah.
We would all either gone, I believe this, or I don't believe this.
You believe the media back then.
You know what I mean? And I think now we just, are they blowing this out of proportion? Should I be scared? Should I keep my kids home from school? And I'm just starting even to wonder, is litigation coming into effect here? And I don't know, give this some thought. Is it possible that many people are concerned for the potential of lawsuits? Here's what I'm saying is, if you let your kids go to school and your kid gets the coronavirus and the kid dies from the coronavirus, why were you making, little Billy and Susie go to school when you knew the potential of this?
Well, there's always the potential for lawsuits, yeah.
Do you think maybe now we're living in a world where everyone is going, holy crap, just cancel everything?
Yes.
The lawyers are going. I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know.
I agree with that. 2 people died last week in Florida from the coronavirus. Both were 80.
Yeah. Right. Well, my parents are in the 80s, so don't wish it on.
No, I don't wish it on anybody. But that's who it's affecting more.
Right.
People that have serious illnesses anyway.
Right.
And the elderly, and they're very young now.
Right.
Young kids are susceptible to it too.
Yeah. And I think the other fear too with a lot of people too is we just don't know all the details of this virus. We know it's a flu-like virus, but I think how it spreads, the period that it stays active, how easily it's transmitted. I mean, you heard that story a while back about a dog got it. Did you hear that?
Yes.
It was on his nose or something. Is the dog okay?
But you know what? You're right. Now we see the news and we go, I don't know.
Yeah.
But 50 years ago, people would say, oh, well, yeah, I believe it.
Polio. We've got to cure this. Stamp this out. You know
it was true.
Right.
Now you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the only thing you can also look at, though, is you can look at places like China and Italy where, I don't know, maybe it's the smart thing to do to just say, we've got to nip this in the bud before it gets out of control. Maybe it's the smart way to handle it. You know, I don't know. In our society, we have such a free and open society. Maybe it's very difficult to do and get everyone on the same page. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a darn shame because, like you said, years ago we used to. Now, when we see the news, we don't know if it's true or we don't know whether to believe not what happened, but what their take on it.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, and you don't know as you watch every news program. You know, is this? It's not that they're pushing an agenda because I've worked in the media for a long time. I really do know how it works. They're trying to fill time, and they're trying to. We used to say, this is what we used to say, we're trying to panic as many people with the least amount of substance. This wasn't the management saying this. This is what we said amongst ourselves. We're trying to panic as many people with the least amount of substance. You know, what can we tell real quickly that it doesn't take a lot of investigation, a lot of time, we can get it on the air. But I think with this story, I think it's yet to be determined. I think it's impossible to say, you know, what this is going to do. And I think just, you know, so many health officials, so many people are just so fearful. They just don't know what to do. And if they do it, if you cancel a basketball game, then you're a maniac. If you don't do it, then you're a maniac.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think everyone just goes the safe route.
Even at the airport, I mean, things have just really, I mean, we've been working overtime. Every single day was available. And like now, no. My buddy just flew from here to Atlanta for $50.
Wow. Good time to get prices on flights and cruises, huh?
Cruises, yeah. My daughter was checking cruises the other day, and she said they're way down. Because people are scared.
What the frick do you do with those cruise ships now? And they've had these viruses. Like, would you book a cruise on that?
I would.
You would? Wouldn't bother you?
People are doing it.
That same ship?
I'd try to get a different ship, but, you know, just to be safe. You know, I mean, if there's
but it's that same ship. We've cleaned it up. We've taken the sanitizers and we've wiped all the railings down. Now, would you book on that cruise?
Well,
half off, half the price.
I'm the guy that always says, you know, I don't know how deep it is. Let's jump and find out.
So you would do it?
Yeah,
wouldn't bother you?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably
my attitude is if I got the flu, I got the flu.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to die from it. I'm just going to be sick.
Right.
But well, my daughter was looking because she's thinking about booking.
Well, you know, we were talking about the media. There's so many things in the last 20, 30 years, you know, and you can go down the list. Monkeypox, killer bees, swine flu. What's the other one?
The avian flu,
bird flu. I mean, you know, so you hear this stuff and, you know, killer bees, they're moving up from Texas. You literally you need to get out of the United States.
You don't hear that anymore, do you?
No. So I think that, you know, people hear this and we've been scared so many times that it's scary because then it builds up this resistance in the American psyche that, don't believe it. And I don't know, maybe it's time to believe it now. Yeah. I don't know.
But we don't know. Because of the way the media works, we don't know whether or not to believe it.
Yeah, I think you just got to live your life and
that's it.
Be a little smart, and then that's it.
Now, don't be a dummy, but yeah, like you said, be a little smart and live.
Yeah, and there's so many weird things too. I find this, like, we get all panicky about, like, even you know, flu viruses or swine flu, as you were talking about. And then, you know, you read, and I don't know if you ever do this, like you read how many people died from like toasters or people that died from like falling in a bathtub or just air travel or car accidents.
Yeah.
And then we just go, that's whatever. We just blow it off, you know, but if it's something like a flu that could be at your kid's school, then we immediately go,
because they're your kids, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Like I said, I got the swine flu. I was sick. I didn't die.
Yeah.
Sick for a few days.
Yeah. Well, Daniel Rushing, you are an amazing guy. I love your story. again, you know what? Next time you get pulled over, what's the moral?
Don't let them search your car no matter what.
No matter what, just refuse.
Right. Yes, because they will. I'm not talking about OPD. I'm talking about, and it's part of their job. I mean, you know, if they think something could be wrong, they want to look at your car, but they're going to bluff you. Hey, can we search your car? If you say no, they're going to go, okay.
Yeah. Make them get a warrant or whatever needs to be done to do that.
Yeah.
Well, you're a good man. Thanks for talking. I want to remind everyone that is listening out there and not watching Apple Podcast, iTunes, SoundCloud, every other manner that this show goes out. We appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. Daniel, thank you.
It was a pleasure, Andy. It was a pleasure meeting you.
You too. And we're out of here.